It's good to see everybody tonight. I'm glad you came out to chat. I think discussions are actually fairly important to hearing ourselves and, working out what we think and what we believe. So let's just, again, this is just a very short little presentation to get the ideas flowing, and then we'll see what you guys come up with. So a new direction for this session is a discussion group. Okay, and so tonight's discussion is all about why do you seek for religion or spirituality? What are you looking for? And are you finding it? And because you're going to be discussing this and trying to share your feelings and what you're thinking about this, if you have a piece of paper, I would suggest you just brain dump whatever comes to your mind. Write that down or just store it in your mind, but writing it down is good, right? If you just think about why are you in any sort of religion or spirituality? And are you actually looking for something, right? And are you finding it? Is it providing something for you? So take a minute and just kind of brain dump some of this stuff and see how it feels. See what you think. What the first things that come into your mind when somebody says, why do you seek for religion or spirituality? What do you want from it? And are you finding that? So I just want to review the real value of small group discussions is it gives you a chance to actually say your truth out loud. Sometimes we're a little bit concerned that people might think our views are weird, or nobody in my family thinks this way, or I don't really have anybody to talk to. All the years I've done sort of spiritual and well-being coaching, so often people will say things to me like, oh, I could never talk about this to anybody in my family, or, any of my friends don't think the way I do. So a small group that's focused on spirituality and religion and those kind of discussions, it's a good opportunity to not be shy, to not second guess yourself. Because in our group, we're supposed to be forming a non-judgmental community where we learn by listening to others. So a small group allows you the opportunity to really think and share your ideas and get them out, try to speak them. All right. And then you're going to have the opportunity to listen to others so that everybody in your group gets a chance to share their ideas that they're kind of working with, and then listen to others and have it be okay if everybody's radically different, or maybe everybody's the same. But while other people are sharing, it gives you the opportunity to listen to your own inner dialogue and see if you have any old judgmental thoughts about, oh my God, that woman's, this is her idea. She thinks this and this. And you want to see if you have hidden resistance or prejudice from your own upbringing that blocks what the other person is saying, right? And so we want to look to see, can we encourage others to share? Can we listen open-mindedly, right? Do we not share thinking other people's ideas are more important, or we're just shy and we're not used to being invited to share? Or, do you find yourself dominating the group because you're so desperate to talk to people that you take up all the time? So we want to be self-aware, because there's so much to learn from what you share and how you perceive the sharing of others. So small group interactions on a deeply personal subject can be transformational. Okay, so the small group discussions, you can learn so much about yourselves. So it'd be great, pay attention and see. Now, some of the things we're going to think about tonight is if you're walking a spiritual path, some of these words, and why are you doing this, right? Do you consider yourself a disciple, somebody who's following the teachings of? Are you just a seeker that loves all kinds of interesting spiritual stuff? And you're just totally open, you're seeking, you want to learn whatever's out there? Are you a follower? So this spiritual concept is something that's interesting. And then I'm going to follow a little bit of this. I kind of see follower and disciple a little bit different. Disciple to me feels like somebody who's dedicated to a path, right? Like when I was growing up, I grew up in the Christian faith, and we were always taught about disciples of Christ. So we are followers of Christ. We're supposed to live those values. And it never occurred to me to ask why. It was ingrained because I grew up in it. It just was Christians are this, we are Christians. We're supposed to help convert the non-Christians because they are missing something in their lives. And so many of our religious and spiritual ideas, if they're brewed in through family, often we don't think about them. So we want to look, when you describe yourself, do you describe yourself as a disciple, as a seeker, or a follower of some sort of spiritual philosophy? And why? Why are you doing this? Are you doing it to please God, please Spirit, or because it's the right thing to do, or I'm trying to be a good person, which was probably a lot of, if somebody asked me, why are you a Christian? I was like, well, I was raised in it and we're supposed to please God and there are right things and moral things to do. And so I followed along for those reasons. And then you want to look at, so why are you doing it? Other people, now that I found in my Christian community, we never talked about enlightenment or truth realization. We did talk about salvation, the saving of your soul by what you believe. And when I flipped over and really started to explore the spiritual path, I found these conversations on enlightenment, that you meditate and have a clear spirit and mind and reach this state of enlightenment that was supposed to be blissful and amazing. And then there was these other ones that talked about truth realization. And then I would read books and talk to people about, well, what's the difference between enlightenment and truth realization? And is salvation just about being good? Is there something to learn from salvation? And then you look at, is your spirituality very, very personal? Right? Or have you followed a guru or a wise person or a spiritual leader or a pastor of your church that is your spiritual director? Do you have a person that directs your spiritual or religious path, or are you just kind of feeling it out for yourself? Okay, so there's lots of different things to consider. And so if an agnostic, somebody who doesn't really believe in God or doesn't really acknowledge any of that stuff, probably not consider themselves spiritual, if they said, I don't get this spiritual stuff, tell me, why are you on a spiritual path? What is it doing for you that I'm missing out on? And you had to show them that somehow this was a better path for you. Would you be able to say it's transformational or it's wonderful for you? Right? So if the question is really looking at your personal reflection about why you do this, what you're doing it for, and is it actually helpful? Is your life better? So I began to ask some of these questions when I found my Christian faith a bit lacking. Right? I hit these walls where it was all about, prayer and God will help you. But as I began to look around, and I'd look around at my church community and I'd look around at the rest of society, and I'd say, I don't think my church community is any more well-adjusted. I don't think there's any less sickness. I don't think God is somehow bestowing more blessings on the faithful and all their prayers than the other people I see in society. And I began to wonder, what is the value and all this dedication and prayer and ritual if it's not getting them something better than those that don't have it? And so the why bother? Why bother? Okay, so here's what you're looking at. And you're going to go into groups because you don't need me to talk about this. It's so great for you to share where you're at with this. So you'll start with, are you religious or spiritual? You're going to share that in your group. And then why? Why are you religious or spiritual? And what are you looking for? Are you looking for enlightenment? Are you looking for salvation? What are you looking for through this path? And what benefits are you getting from this path? Okay, so I can copy these and pop them in the chat room. Oops. Hang on. So those are the questions we're working with. I'll paste them into the chat if that works. And so you remember, But again, really try to share from your truth, knowing that each of us is finding our way. There's no absolute right answer. It's about learning our own perspective, how we speak it, and how we listen and support others.